So today's reading is on the BBC News website, and it's in particularly the in-depth section. So this will be going through in detail about this topic, and generally speaking, the words they use will be sort of a slightly probably of a higher standard, perhaps more of the is it the A standard, I think, the A quality. So hopefully you understand that. I'll have to edit that out because it doesn't make a lot of sense, but there we go. So this guy here, what's this guy's name? We've just said it. What's his name again, everyone?
Yeah, it is Elon Musk.
That's
Is
it.
well-known person in America and actually
Mm,
over the world.
yeah, the world over. Do you know where he was born? Say, Yulia. Do you know where he was born? What country? There's silence at the moment, Yulia. I think maybe you're muted. It's taking a long time thinking about it, I guess. So, okay, so Ruslan, any idea where he was born?
I guess in Mexico.
Mexico.
Oh, it's
I'm
Mexico. Did you
not,
say that?
I guess mm,
Mm,
I'm not sure. It's
mm,
like yeah, my idea, but it can
mm.
be like Mexico and America.
I think it's just in the US. Maybe not.
Well, he definitely lives in the US and works there. But I'm 98% sure he was actually born in South Africa. So he's South African.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure. So let doesn't make any sense, does it? But good conversation. Well done. So let's scroll on. So it's amazing how is he just unshaven? I mustn't be too rude because I'm unshaven sometimes. But maybe don't say. Okay, let me just read the title then. So, SpaceX stock market blast off could be Musk's biggest gamble yet. So it was published on the 9th, a few days ago, but they updated it just yesterday. And the business editor appears to be the author, Simon Jack. He's the journalist responsible for this. Let's scroll on. So I'll read these first couple of paragraphs maybe. So it's 7:25 a.m. 13th of October 2025 at Starbase near Boca Chica. Now I've never seen this before, so I assume that's how it's pronounced. On the Texas side of the US-Mexico border. And on the launch pad stands the biggest rocket ever made. Its engines fire and it climbs into the skies over the Gulf of Mexico to cheers and screams in the SpaceX control room. But the launch is not the main event. What goes up must come down, and how it comes down will become a milestone in space exploration. I'll read these next few lines. So 7 minutes later, the massive rocket booster that blasted the craft towards space starts falling back to Earth. So I'll stop there. So anything there that is any words you want to go back over and double check the meaning or the pronunciation, or words that you find tricky and want to practice? Either of you guys? Okay. So it's all about space things and rockets and whatever. Now we just talked about something taking off, a rocket taking off. On Facebook here, we have it coming back down again. So I think I just watch this because it's only a few seconds long.
Booster under current shutdown. even in this day and age, what we just saw, that looked like magic. Wow.
Damn, you must have been insane. We are still going wild over here over this.
Folks, this is a day for the engineering history books.
Yeah, so that's it landing after shooting up about 7 minutes before. What really got me there was all the screaming. It sounded like they were dying at first, but of course it's just them screaming in excitement. But it's a little bit sort of show actory because it's a little bit sort of fake. No one gets that excited, do they? Okay, so do you fancy reading a little bit from here?
Yeah, okay.
Let's scroll up a little bit, get a bit more. That's to the bottom if you fancy.
Yeah,
Over to
okay.
you.
I'll try. 7 minutes later, the massive rocket booster that blasts the craft towards space starts falling back to Earth until its engines reignited as planned.
Right, hold on. Let me stop you there. That's great. That's good. So, that line there.
Yeah, it's
So that's, yeah, there's an odd word in the middle. So that's reignite. Reignite. So when you saw that rocket, there's a big flame at the bottom of it, wasn't there? So a minute before the film started, or 2 or 3 minutes before it started, or 5 minutes before, there was no flame there at all. Or the rocket wasn't running as such. And at some point it switched on to slow it down, of course. Not of course, but that's what it does. And when it restarted again the second time, that's obviously why it says reignite. Because when you ignite something, you're setting it on fire. That's one way of looking at it. So they switched the engines on a second time. That's why it says reignite. Do you want to just say that word, reignite?
Reignite.
Yeah.
Reignite, yeah.
Reignite. Yeah, so I'm saying let me just say it slightly slowly and then I'll say it slightly faster or normal. So reignite, reignite. Then a bit faster, reignite, reignite.
Reignite.
Yeah, I think you're about 99% there, really. That's great. That's it. And I suppose really you only really use this with these rockets, I suppose, or when there's been a fire. Perhaps a car has caught fire and then it went out and then it restarted again. So don't really use the word that often, reignite. And just above it, this one here.
Yeah, it's blasted.
That's it. Yeah, blasted. That's right.
The blasted. How about graph? I don't know actually.
That one there.
What is
this word?
Yeah, what is about? Yeah.
Craft.
Craft.
Mm.
Craft. It's like what?
Normally, a craft is something that people get into and it transports them somewhere. So you wouldn't necessarily say it about a car or a lorry, but you would say craft when you're just getting onto a boat, maybe. Get into a boat, you might call a boat a craft. Or in this case, it's a rocket, a space rocket. You might talk about that as being a spacecraft. Spacecraft.
Okay, like something which help to work this.
Well, this thing here, you could say is a spacecraft because it goes up into space and comes back down again. But in particular, this is just the engine, just the engine. No one can actually sit inside this.
Yeah.
I mean, because you'll just get very hot, I suppose. There's no sort of place inside of this for a human. The humans sit in a special bit on the top of it, which isn't there at the moment because that was left in outer space. And this bit came back down again because they're reusing this bit and they're leaving the guys in outer space to do something else. if that makes
Yeah.
any sense. Does that make sense? I've started the
Yeah.
video again.
Yeah.
I'm always clicking it by accident. So there's it ignited again. There we go. So if I just read the whole thing back to you, then in fact, do you want to read the whole thing back again, or back maybe just to there, maybe? So I'll read the whole thing. So 7 minutes later, the massive rocket booster, and that massive rocket booster is the thing in the video.
Yeah.
It's like the engine sort of thing. So 7 minutes later, the massive rocket booster that blasted the craft towards space starts falling back to Earth. Does that make sense what it's saying?
Yeah, actually,
Yeah,
pretty clear.
okay. And when it says blasted, what is that? What would you sort of, is another word you can put in there maybe? Or do you understand the meaning of the word?
It's like take off now, like
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
like plane take off, just
Yeah. Sort of, yeah. But when you say blasted, there's this idea of lots of power and strength coming out of the bottom of it, I suppose. If something gets blasted, you could say that it has been blown up. Maybe it comes from the wartime. I don't know really.
blown up, yeah? Did
Yeah.
you say? Okay.
Yes, that's right. Again, at the end of the Second World War, there were lots of houses in Britain, and they had blast damage. Blast damage. So all the windows were broken, all the doors were pushed in.
Okay.
House was sort of roughly there. All the walls were all bent, and that's because of the explosions, all the explosions. And so that's just
Yeah.
blast with just ending with a T, and obviously ED makes it in the past tense.
Yeah, it's actually all the time because of explosion. Yeah, if it's blasted, it should be some explosion. Yeah.
I think originally that's really probably most of the time it's been used over the last 100 years. It's been explosions, but since the space age, we often say, "Oh, the rocket blasted off at 7 o'clock and it went to the moon," or something like that, or it had a satellite on board in it, and after it blasted off, it put the satellite in orbit. So we often say with rockets that they blast off because they are big explosions, aren't they, at the bottom? And basically that's what it is, a big explosion. But it's stretched out over minutes and perhaps even tens of minutes. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I got to about there and then I stopped. So let me say it again. So then it's your go when I finish then. So 7 minutes later, the massive rocket booster that blasted the craft towards space starts falling back to Earth. Want to have a go?
Yeah. 7 minutes later, the massive rocket booster that blasted the craft towards space starts falling back to Earth.
That's it. Do you want to carry on? Maybe to the end of the paragraph,
Yeah,
perhaps?
okay. Until its engine reignite as planned. It slows its descent and guides itself with pinpoint precision, so it can be captured by scallops called Mechazilla or the chopsticks by engineers who have achieved something that's never been done before.
Yes. Yes, that was pretty good actually. I like that, yes. And when you were saying reignite, I think you're almost there actually. I heard you, I could hear in your voice that you sort of were looking at your notes and think,
Yes,
oh, what's that
exactly.
word again? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the last four letters, so that's NITE. So that's the sound of that is exactly like night time or night or bed.
Night.
When you go to bed. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so reignite. Reignite.
Yeah.
Reignite. Yeah.
Yeah, reignite.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, shall we
Mhm.
stop here, or do you want me to read a bit more,
Well,
or
let's stop there for a
yeah,
second.
okay, yeah.
So, any words in this blue bit here that you've just read that you want to go back over again?
Yeah, I just would like to know what actually means here, descent, descent and guides.
Descent.
Descent.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
descent. So if something's falling down, you could say from the sky. You could say, "Oh, that's on descent from wherever."
Oh, it can be
Descent.
like a star. I can see like a star falling down, and I can say I can describe it like with the word descent. Yeah.
I'm not sure about a star,
Oh,
but maybe if it was, say, a meteorite, you might say, "Oh, I just saw a
me too.
meteorite come down."
Okay.
Maybe come down.
This.
When I was watching its descent. So let me just say, give you a sentence. So I think I just saw a meteorite hit the Earth. I was watching its descent. It fell over there somewhere. You might say that.
Ah,
So descent.
descent. Okay.
So you could say, I descended in the lift, or we descended in the lift. Descent. Um, or a bit more philosophically, you might say the descent of mankind. A bit more philosophical. So men or humankind
Mhm.
descending from somewhere, you might say. What about pinpoint?
I'm not sure
Ah,
pinpoint.
I think it's a game, yeah?
well, there might be. But if I go back to what's this here actually?
Maybe it's ping pong.
So I just click on this. This is a walk that's happening at the weekend. It's a couple of days' time. If I just click on here, the page will load up. If I go down to the map, you will see it. So this here, I think they sometimes call this red marker where we're going to meet. Sometimes call that a pin. That's sometimes referred to as a pin. And you could say on this map, this little marker. Oh, blast! I've clicked on it by accident. It pinpoints exactly where we're going to meet. It pinpoints exactly where we're going to meet. Well, perhaps not exactly, but not meeting in the
Mm,
middle of the tracks. We're going to meet by the station out here, actually. Um,
it's
so
like a certain place. Yeah.
yes, so that's right. So you might say, "Oh, with pinpoint accuracy, I can show you where I was born." So you might say something like that. You might say, "Oh, it was this house right here, or this hospital, maybe even, or whatever." So with
Mm,
pinpoint accuracy, you might say.
okay.
So you could call that a pointer, I think. A pointer. I forgot what we call this thing now. It's the Google pointer, really, isn't it? Is it a pointer? It's got a particular name, this little thing,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's like a normal point when we do some spelling. Yeah, point. It means that some small mark. Yeah, and here just they put it in the front of this pin point. Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what you're saying. Now you're
Yeah.
talking about
Uh, uh,
pinpointer or
yeah,
blast.
don't
Yeah, go
worry.
on.
I made it, yeah, very complicated, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I do that enough. Okay, we'll leave that there then.
Yeah.
So that's the word pinpoint. And here they're
Pinpoint,
saying pinpoint precision. So if something's
receive.
precise, it's just very accurate.
Ah,
It's
yeah,
millimeters out, or maybe
yeah.
if it's a rocket, it might be just a couple of centimeters out or something landing. But if you're parking your car, you might want a different set of accuracy than you what might want if you're right on a motor. I don't know, on a boat going through. Yeah, different situations want different levels of precision, don't they? That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, and yeah,
So
precise. Yeah.
yeah, so there's if you miss out the ion on the end, put an e, that would be precise. But this word here at the moment is precision. Precision.
Precision.
So there's
Precision.
precision. Yeah, that's right. So when you're parking your car, you need a certain level of precision. Otherwise, you scrape the other cars or you hit something else.
Yeah,
But you can
exactly.
be, a few inches out. You don't have to be spot on accurate. To be fairly precise. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and clasp. What about clasp?
Last. Last. No, I don't know. Last.
So, if you grab something, you could say you're clasping it. Right now, I'm clasping my glass of water, clasping it in my hand.
Like
So
grab, yeah.
holding, sort of like holding something. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Last.
So, yeah, that's it. And what they're referring to here, if we go back to the film or the video, is there a picture here? Not that one. That one. One of these photos somewhere. Oh, this one here. So they've got this tower in the middle of the photo, off to one side actually, and this is the rocket booster or whatever they called it, and it's coming into land. Well, it's got these metal projections coming out. These are the things that are going to grab or clasp the rocket booster as it comes down. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So they call these things chopsticks or mecha something rather. Yeah, and they hold it when it lands. That's its sort of
Yeah.
its parking position.
Parking
Okay,
position.
yeah. Okay, so we've spent a little while there. Hopefully that makes a lot of sense, or more sense than it did. So,
Yeah.
Yulia, any questions about this little bit here that we read out?
No questions. No.
Okay. So is it okay we go over to Yulia now? Give Yulia a go.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so do you fancy reading this little bit here, or maybe to the end? What do you fancy doing, Yulia?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So, amid the whoops and high fives in SpaceX control room, Elon Musk tells him millions of social media followers that there is a big step towards making life multiplanetary. A reusable rocket that will slash the cost of launching things into orbit to the moon and one day to Mars.
Yes. Yes, that's very good. Well done. Very good. So, any words there that meant nothing to you, or you don't understand, or you want to get help pronouncing them or something?
Yes, so amid the whoops, whoops, amid the whoops.
Let me read that bit there then. So, those three words at the beginning are amid the whoops, amid the whoops, amid. So, the word amid means in the middle of. So, it's got mid, isn't it, there?
Okay, yeah.
So, basically, that's sort of like middle. And just is in effect saying in the middle of, you could say. But there's a few words where you stick a on the front of it. We don't really hear this word anymore, but years ago, so in Shakespeare, they sometimes use the word a bed. So any idea what that means, Julia? What does that word mean? A bed. So it's an old word, don't use it now.
I think about the bed.
Yeah, it's something to do with the bed. That's right, going to bed if you're asleep or tired or something. So if you remember the last word we just talked about, it was mid. So a mid means you're in the middle of something. You're in the middle of something. So what does a bed mean?
In the bed, yeah.
Yeah, you're in bed. That's right. So there's a number of words where it's a stuck in front of another word that you really know quite well. So most people know what bed is. I certainly know what it is. And when you stick a in front of it, and it's glued right on the front of it, basically it means you're in it. You're in it effectively. So if you see that as with a few other words, it probably means you're in bed or you're doing it at the moment, something like that.
Oh.
And so, what are the whoops? Whoops.
No idea.
I did refer to it in the video. So on the video, everyone was shouting and screaming like they were being murdered or something. They were really excited and shouting and screaming, their arms in the air. Perhaps they all knew they were getting a pay rise or something. So the whoops are really all that, or basically all that excitement. There's all that excitement. That's the whoops. So in the middle of all the whoops and the excitement and the high fives. So what are high fives?
Give me high fives.
Yeah, give me a high five. That's right. Yeah. So it's someone slaps your hand with their hand, isn't it? So it's 5 fingers slapping their hand with 5 fingers on. That's what it's really referring to. And it's normally that it's kind of like a greeting sometimes, like a hello or excitement, something like that. So amid the whoops and high fives in SpaceX control room. So what's the SpaceX control room? Any idea? What is that?
SpaceX, I think it's name of the company or
That's it, yeah.
control room. It's something where they control this shuttle, or what is it? Or
That's exactly it. So it's so complicated putting rockets into outer space that they have a control room. And so there's someone looking at the angle it's going up. There's another person looking at how much fuel is being used, another person making sure there's no leaks, loads and loads and loads of people doing all sorts of things. And that's just, it's off the top of my head. And if it goes wrong, they may have a big red button which they hit and it explodes, so it doesn't fall on someone's house and kill them or something. So there's lots going on. So they're controlling it in this room, basically. They're controlling it in that room. And normally it's big operations have a control room. So if an army is on maneuvers, they will probably have some kind of control room, and they're sort of organizing it, mapping it, making sure people are doing the right thing. Some sort of big exercise, launching rockets into outer space, or any sort of a big exercise will have a control room. That's it. So any other words there that you want to look at? Not too sure the meaning, etc. Was that no? I didn't quite catch.
I think I know all words. I think it's clear. Yeah.
Okay. So what about this word here? You'll regret saying that now. It's okay. I don't mind. So what's that word?
Launching.
Yeah, that's pretty good. We'll practice it a little bit more to get it spot on. But what does it mean?
I understand the meaning of this of the sentence here.
Okay.
There's this reusable rocket here. They can use it again and then just reduce the cost of the cost of this trip. Yeah, I guess.
Yes.
Mars.
So, but what does this word mean though? Word in blue. What does it actually mean? You sort of have included it in what you said, but you sort of skipped over it very slightly.
Maybe reduce the things. No. Launching. Maybe how to get to. No.
How to get, that sounds like you're on the track there. So let me just fill it in for you. So when you launch something, you're starting it. You're starting it. If you launch a new company, like, I don't know, I think Tesco's must have started, let's say, 100 years ago. So 100 years ago, someone, I think it was T.E. Stockton, wasn't it, who launched the company. He launched Tesco's. He launched it. But this is a rocket. So when it leaves the launch pad, and we call it the launch pad, it's called launching. Oh, we've launched the rocket. It started off on its way. That's it. So, and often with rockets, we talk about launching, because with rockets, that's the time when that's often, not often, always, but it can be the time when things go wrong and they can blow up. Because it was at, let's say, room temperature, let's say, very normal temperatures. and then parts of it get up to thousands of degrees in temperature, and that's really when things can go wrong. They can blow up, I'm sorry to say, of course. Okay, so let's just do that word then. So launching.
Launching.
Okay, let's just do the launch bit. Let's miss out the ing and just do launch. So launch. So there's an L sound at the beginning, so like that, and then after that there's a sort of a or kind of a sound. Or AU often makes an or, and I think I've got the N as well, but just the AU often makes a sort of an or kind of a sound. So or launch. Does that make sense? So
Launch.
And again, launch. Yeah, you're getting there. It still wants a bit more work though. So it doesn't get a great deal of use, this word, so maybe we won't spend any more time on it now, but perhaps have it down as a word that you sort of check yourself with an online dictionary such as this one here. This is pretty good, I think. This one, Collins' dictionary, is pretty good. So let's go back to where we were. Let's do that line down to there. So I'll read it to you, and then it's your go. So, a reusable rocket that will slash the costs. So, do you want to do that a little bit there? So, a reusable rocket that will slash the costs. Your go.
Yeah. A reusable rocket that will slash the cost.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, costs. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
So once more, so a reusable rocket that will slash the costs. Your go.
Yeah. A reusable rocket that will slash the costs.
Yeah, you're getting clearer, I think, each time. So, and what does slash? What does that mean? Slash.
Slash, like a spark, yeah.
A spark.
Spark, yeah.
That's more like a flash, I would say. A flash is more like a spark. So, and often a spark really is a small, kind of like a small, very, very small flame, you might say. It's not really a flame, it's something similar to a flame. Normally, we have a spark to light a flame, normally, but okay. So, with slash, the meaning here is a very large and substantial cut.
A large substantial cut.
So that's right. Here it means prices or costs. But often, if I could have a slash on my hand, if I accidentally cut my hand with a knife I was using, that would be a slash. It was perhaps a big one. I might say, oh, that was a nasty slash there. Slash. So basically, the word means cut. Here they're using it to mean a cut in prices, but it could mean a cut on your hand or something. Or it might have a cut on your clothing. I've got a slash on my trouser leg somehow. It ripped on something. It ripped on a piece of metal sticking out, or wood or something. Okay, so that's pretty good. Well done. So maybe this word here. So really, with these, often when there's a re in front of it, we know obviously it means doing it again or a second time or something, doing the whole thing again a second time. And we've already had it elsewhere, like reignite up here, and we're sort of lighting the thing a second or third time. Because we don't really know the number when we say re, just means we're doing it again. So, but every time we say a re something, the re is really quite clearly said. It's quite clear. I say almost always, it's really quite clearly obvious you're saying re. So make it obvious you're saying re. In your mind, maybe put like a hyphen. There's a hyphen just in front of it, isn't there? Sometimes with these words, there's actually a hyphen between the re and the word that follows it, but often there isn't, of course. But in your mind, maybe say that really clearly the re, and then really clearly the second word. So treat them almost as two words that are glued together and sort of said immediately one after the other, if that's possible. So the re is said exactly like as in re, and in this case here, the usable bit doesn't change how it's pronounced at all. So the usable is exactly the same as when we say reusable. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
the re in front of it doesn't change any kind of the way this word is pronounced. It's pronounced exactly the same both ways. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So just like with reignite, the re is always re. That never really changes, and ignite is always ignite. So ignite and reignite are pronounced exactly the same. At least the ignite bit is. Okay. So I'm going to say reusable once again.
Reusable.
Yeah, that's really clear. Yeah, that's really clear. And once more.
Reusable.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And maybe this one up here now that what Ruslan had.
Reignite.
Yeah, that's really, really clear, actually. Yeah, that's really clear. Well done. So any other words you want to go back over here that I've missed?
Maybe multiplanetary. Oh, it's okay. Multiplanetary.
Yeah, that's pretty good. We could do that one, but the thing is, it's sort of we only ever talk about it, and we never really use this word in everyday speech unless you're into rockets or something. Then maybe we could do that.
I'm not.
Or you really want to, perhaps you really want to meet Elon Musk. I can't think why, and you must learn this word, otherwise he won't be interested in talking to you.
No, in next life.
In your next life, yes, okay. Do you fancy reading this little bit here?
Yep. So a company with a futuristic vision, led by some would call a maverick, unconventional genius. SpaceX and Musk have drawn comparisons with Tony Stark, leader of Stark Industries, and also known as Iron Man of the Marvel Comics universe.
Yes. Okay.
I think this was.
It wasn't as good as your first one. Your first reading up here was better than this one. Maybe you've got difficult words here, I guess. So let me read this. Let me read the whole sentence, the whole paragraph back. So, a company with a futuristic vision, led by what some would call a maverick, unconventional genius. SpaceX and Musk have drawn comparisons with Tony Stark, leader of Stark Industries, and also known as Iron Man, and the Marvel comic universe. So this last bit here is all make-believe. Tony Stark doesn't really exist. He's just a comic character who's been put into films. And Stark Industries is a made-up name that's in this story. So this is a film or comic. But the first bit of it is spot on. That's exactly true. So let me so I've read the first bit, haven't I? So are there any words there that you want to go back over again that are very tricky for you?
Yeah, made many mistakes. Again, iron. Yeah, I think it is strong. Yeah, it should be iron without R. Yeah, iron.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, that's it. That's very true. So iron.
Iron.
Yeah. But some people do pronounce the R. So the Scottish often do put an R sound in there. Some Americans put, but we'll leave that alone. So there are variations, but Southern England, where everyone is in London, so definitely in London, it's iron.
Maybe I have Scottish genes.
Yeah, yes, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's tricky. Okay, so any other words? How about that one there?
Yeah, this one. Maverick.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Maverick. Maverick. So if someone's a maverick, it means they're I was going to say they're unconventional. That's exactly what it means, really. They're unconventional. They do things their way that other people wouldn't necessarily do. People may even laugh at them, but they still go and do it that way because that's the way they do it. They think whatever. So maverick and unconventional, very similar, really, I would say. But if something's unconventional, let's actually look that word up, actually, because no, let's not, because we've only got a few minutes left. So about genius. Genius.
Genius. Genius.
What does it mean? That's
Genius.
good.
Someone has like some talent, unique talent, or
Yes, that's very much it, I would say. Perhaps to an extreme, though. Take that to an extreme. So there's supposedly a very few genii or geniuses in the world. So don't they say that Leonardo da Vinci was a genius? But perhaps there's only one genius a generation. I don't know, but there's not that many of them supposedly. So let's do those three words there that are in blue. So maverick, unconventional genius, and they're talking about Elon Musk here, I think. So maverick, unconventional genius. You'll go.
maverick, unconventional genius.
Yeah, that's it. You've got it. Yeah, so that's it. The other word I noticed that sounds a bit unusual when you said it, or a little bit maverick when you said it, was drawn. Drawn.
Drawn.
A bit louder.
Drawn.
No,
drawn.
no, you're not roughly about there, but just so that's drawn. When you said it just then, I heard that word, drone. Drone. That's what I heard anyway, but that's fine. Who knows what I hear. So let me just say both of them then. So the first one is drawn, and drone. Drone. Do you want to do both of them? Drawn and drone.
Drawn and drawn.
Yeah, they do sound quite similar, I suppose. If we take the N off the top one, that's still a real word, but it's sort of the present tense, I would say, or continuous tense. No. So let's just do without the N on the end for the moment. So draw.
Draw. It's drawing, yeah? To do something.
Yeah, it could be, yeah. It's a few different meanings to this word. So you could pull something along the ground and you're drawing it along the ground. It doesn't have to be with a pen and pencil, you're making a picture or something. But let's do it again. You're not quite there. So draw.
Draw.
Oh, you're getting that's better. This word gets a lot of use, so it is worth perhaps spending a little bit more time on this one, I would say. So a draw, if you have sort of a pen and paper and lots of little bits like a rubber and a pencil sharpener, you might put them or keep them in a drawer. Does that make sense? In a drawer.
Yeah.
Okay. It's quite a very ancient word. This has an awful lot of use. They have it as A1, I'm surprised. So let's listen to how they say it.
Draw.
Draw. Ooh. Did you give it another go? Draw.
Draw.
So let's listen to this. So I think you got the first bit spot on, but it is the last part at the end. And you'd never guess it from those two letters, would you? So forget the fact that it's a W maybe, but really what it boils down to, the A and the W together make this sound. That's basic what it means. Well, not what it means, but that's the situation. Let's listen to them again.
Draw.
Raw.
Draw.
Yeah, your first one was the best one. That's the best one you've done so far. So it's DR, dr, and at the end, it's more like it's a bit like that. The AW earlier on. Remember when we had AW? It's pretty much like or again, isn't it? Or draw, or
Draw.
yeah.
Draw.
So let's
Draw.
listen. So we'll do this word, and then we'll do some of the one with the S on the end, then then we go to drew, past tense, and then the drawn on the end. We won't do drawing, but we'll do the other one. So first this one. So I'll say it, she'll say it, I'll say it, then it's your go. So draw.
Draw.
Your go.
Draw. Draw.
Yeah, it feels slightly rushed at the beginning. When you're saying it. So bear that in mind. So be slightly clearer on the first couple of sounds. Okay, then we'll just move on to let's put the S on the end now. So draw.
Draws.
Oh, draw. Oh, sorry, draws.
Draws. Draws.
And you'll go, Yulia?
Draws. Draws. Draws.
Draws.
Draws.
Spend a fraction of a second longer saying the or sound in the middle. So oars, draws,
Draws. Draws.
Oh, that's one of your best ones. That's one of your best ones just then. Okay. So this one's the past tense now. Drew. So it's different sound at the end really, but we'll do it anyway.
Drew.
Drew. Your go?
Drew. Drew. Drew.
We'll probably do this one as well, I think. So drew.
Drew.
Drew. Your go?
Drew.
Getting there. Drew. Okay, we'll leave that one. But your draws was really quite good. Another thing to bear in mind is if you say drawers is an old name, very old name for ladies' underwear. So so just to confuse you a little bit. Okay, so this is now the sort of the past tense. I suppose these past two are past tense or past participles on that. So let's do this one here. So drawn. Again, I'll say it again. So drawn. Yeah, your first one was quite good. But you lost it a little bit for the second one. We'll say it again. So drawn. Listen to them.
Drawn.
You'll go.
Drawn.
Okay. Your first one of the previous go was the best. Okay, we'll leave that there. So I think you've actually got a lot better on that. I think you have, and just the practice I think has helped a lot. Helped a lot. So with this word, it gets an awful lot of use. So it is worth getting it right. So the first meaning here is a verb. They say this is to sketch, design, outline. There's a lot of meanings to this word. So the second one is when a vehicle draws somewhere, it moves there smoothly and slowly. And their sentence here says, Claire had seen the taxi drawing away. So when a car pulls away, you can say, oh, the car drew off, or is drawing away, is drawn off or something. Yeah. So move, go, come, drive. That it also means that. What's the next verb here? So if you draw somewhere, you move there slowly. So she drew. That's the word there. She drew away and did not smile. Another one is when we drew level, he neither slowed nor accelerated. So there's lots of uses there. That's the similar to the previous one, isn't it, really? So if you draw something or someone in a particular direction, you move them in that direction, usually by pulling them gently. So I might draw you somewhere. I might pull you on your arm somewhere. And there's a good number of them. So we could keep on going. So there's a whole load. It gets so much use. And we haven't really, yeah. So it is one of those words that is worth getting. So definitely practice that one. Definitely have that at the top of your list. So all the variations. So drew, drawn, drawing, if you can, draw without the N on the end. Okay, it's just turned 7. It's actually 7 minutes past 7 in London. So if you want to shoot off, anyone wants to shoot off, they can do. But we'll carry on reading if you can stay a little bit longer. So well done, Julia. That was good. I think you did quite a lot of work there.
Funny, yes, thank you for your help. Yeah.
Okay, so stay if you can, but if you have to shoot off, you can do. So, Ruslan, do you fancy reading a little bit here? If you're
Yeah,
still with me.
okay.
Okay, so that's seems to be a still from that booster. So I think they called this thing, this sort of rocket thing, a booster, didn't they? Because it shot the capsule, which was on top of that, into space. And often they talk about boosters as being that's the sort of thing that they do. They shoot something else into space. So if I just read this little bit here under the title. So, and I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that word there, but it's a Getty's image. Anyway, so the launch of Starship in October 2024 and return of part of it to the launch pad, there's that word launch again, marked another milestone in Elon Musk's ambition for deep space exploration. Okay. So it's the whole thing is called Starship. The bottom bit is just the booster or rocket engine. I'm not sure what it's called now. So over to you, Ruslan. Read away if you want.
Yeah. On 12 June, trading will begin in a chunk of shares in a company that up to now only Musk and a selected group of rich private institutions have been able or invited to own.
Yes. Yeah, that's quite good. Well done. Well done. With the date,
Yeah, with the date.
we in the UK, I'm of the generation, and I think most people follow this, is that they tend to say when they see this, they stick an extra few words in between these two things here. So, do you remember what they are?
Yeah, probably I needed to say on 12th of June of
Yeah.
12.
Yeah. No, the first one was it. That's it. That's it.
Ah,
So, um, some people will just say 12th June. They might say that, but so they put a TH sound after the number. But very few people do that. But I think a lot of people would say they would read that and say on. They might even put a the in front of it. Yeah, a the. It's not printed, I know, but they might stick a the there. So on the 12th of June. So stick extra words. It's naughty, I know, but in America they would almost most would in America just read it exactly as it's written, just as you read it out. So you were correct. But I thought because we're in the UK, well, we do it the British way. So in
yeah,
America, they do it the
okay.
way which is you're listening. You also be copying the American way. That's okay. So
Uh,
so there's this bit here, chunk of shares. Do you want to just read that bit back? So chunk of shares.
a chunk of shares.
Shares. Okay. So with the word chunk, do you know how they're using it here? What does it mean here?
Not really chunk.
So it sort of means a
Mm,
lump, a big group of something, a lump of it. Chunk.
ah,
So you might have maybe you like a big chunk of meat when you have lunch.
it's like slice. No, it's not.
A chunk really means a big lump of something. A
Big,
big
big,
lump.
big
Lump.
lump.
A
Lump.
blob. A big uncut piece of meat. So it
Um,
may be 3 inches thick, 4 inches long, and 5 inches wide. So it's not sliced. It's a big blob of something. A chunk of something is un, undivided. Does that make sense?
Undivided. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's like a part of of somebody. Yeah. Uh,
If you had a chunk of flesh, which this is a bit gory, it might be a whole arm or something. That might be a chunk of flesh.
mhm.
Let's say it's Yeah, that sounds really gory, doesn't it? So a chunk of something is a big amount of something. It's not a little bit. It's not sliced. It's not prepared in any way. It's not prepared. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's
Just
not prepared. Yeah, it's
as it
big,
comes
big.
in a sense.
Yeah, okay, big amount of something. Yeah, chunk.
Not so much. It could be a big amount, but it's this sort of an unorganized shape of it. So they've got here a chunk of bread. So it's not a slice of bread. It's like someone ripped off the whole end of it. Let's say one end of it, not the whole end of it, and gave it to you to eat. Maybe they didn't have a knife or something, so they just had a chunk of bread, or you're very
Mm,
hungry and you just had the bread and you didn't have a knife. So did they get that? So there's no explanation here. So serve it with almost anything: potatoes, pasta, rice or polenta, bread or a chunk of bread, or over
mm.
bruschetta. So that doesn't really help, does it?
Yeah, okay, I got it. It's like, yeah,
That's just
yeah,
an amount of it, just a big a bit, not a big. It could be a big quantity, but it's not been sliced, it's not been prepared. It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
as it's all got ripped off in this sense, if it's bread. So they say chunk of meat here, chunk of meat. So chunks of something are thick, solid pieces of it. Yeah.
Hmm.
So here we go, block. So a piece. So if we say a piece of something, it sounds like it could be quite small, doesn't it? But a block sounds bigger. But a block to me sounds square. But a chunk is we don't really know the shape of it. It could be any shape. It's kind of a chaotic shape. Mass sounds a bit better. So mass is say it really is pretty close to chunk, I would say. So he gave me a chunk of bread. He gave me a mass of bread. With mass, it sounds slightly bigger, but it sounds like it's not been sliced. It sounds like it might be half the loaf, just ripped in half or something. So it's similar to chunk.
Yeah.
And a portion, yeah, a portion of bread does sound. So if it was a slice of bread, you would say a slice. But if it's portion, it sounds like maybe you would just rip off a small bit at the end. So portion does sound smaller, but so we don't really know how big a chunk is. Really, it's not very descriptive in that sense. But as it says here, it's a solid piece of it, but not a prepared slice. So okay, well, we've spent ages on that. I'm so bad at explaining the words, I suppose. There we go.
No.
That's
So so that here they're saying a chunk of shares. Chunk of shares.
Um,
So do you know what shares are? Any idea what
share?
share? So shares.
Yeah,
Share.
I understand like a share.
Mm.
For example, I'm gonna share to you my ideas. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I'm going to share with you my ideas. That's it.
Yeah, and shares, it's like probably shares like noun. It's not.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like yeah verb. It's
Mm. So noun.
well,
That's it. Here's a noun, I think.
it's some probably part of something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's part of something, but it's actually part of a company. So with a company, there's lots of people who can own a company. And how
Yeah.
you do it is you split the company or the ownership of the company up into shares, what are called shares. So it's a financial thing. Something is kind of it's almost like it's almost metaphorical. You might say in one sense there isn't a physical share. It's almost metaphorical. You will get a piece of paper possibly saying, "Oh yeah, you own a share of this company, or you own 10 shares in this company." So it's a financial instrument. If that makes any sense. So, does that make sense? Shares.
Yes.
Whoops. Oh dear, hit the wrong button again. So I'm always clicking on the wrong button. There we go. So I'm nearly there. Yeah, so carry on. Yeah. You think that makes sense to you?
Yeah. Yeah. Chunk of shares.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So this is a chunk of those financial instruments or bits of paper that say you own a portion, probably a very small portion of that company. So Tesco's, that's worth, I don't know, let's say it's worth 50 billion pounds in pounds. So some people own those shares, or most of those shares, probably.
Yeah, I
Probably
got
in,
it. Yeah.
Okay. So it's a sort of financial instrument, and you can buy and sell them.
Yeah,
But just
okay.
as you said, it could also be I'd like to share my ideas with you. So that's a verb, and in this sense, it's obviously a noun, isn't it? Or I could share my bread with you. I could share my chunk of bread with you.
Yeah, and
Go
yeah,
on.
first sentences of first word of these sentences, trading. It's like trading. It's like trade. Yeah,
Yes. So
trade.
it's
Yeah, yeah,
buying and selling in
yeah.
these
Buying and
shares
selling.
or
Yeah,
chunks of these shares. Yeah, that's
yeah.
it.
Yeah, and it actually looks like on the 12th of June, the trade
Yes.
started. Yeah, and yeah,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's what it's
yeah,
saying. Yeah, so
yeah,
yeah. So that must be in Elon Musk's company. Is it SpaceX? I'm not quite sure. I think it's SpaceX, isn't it, we're talking about here? So
yeah,
didn't he
and
put his AIX into SpaceX? So it's the one company, and I guess that made this company now that much more valuable because it added two smaller companies together, I think, but I don't know really. So let me just read the whole thing back to
yeah,
you.
okay,
So on the 12th of June, trading will begin in a chunk of shares in a company that up till now only Musk and a select group of rich private investors have been able or invited to own. So it's sort of this whole paragraph, small little paragraph, is really about this financial operations of this company and how they trade in the shares. So, are there any
yeah,
words
but
in there you want to get back
yeah,
over?
and it says as well that Musk are going to encourage another people to buy it. Yeah, I understand it's like this as well.
Um, I don't know if it's actually saying that, but there is an implication there, I suppose. But really, it's saying up till now. So up until, let's say, before the 12th of June, only Musk and a very small number of people owned this company. I don't know what the number maybe 100 people, maybe 1,000 people or something. But from
Okay.
the 12th today,
Yeah.
I think you or I could potentially own a little bit of this company. Mind you, it'd be absolutely titchy amount of the company.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. It's clear.
Yeah, okay. So it's only the rich investors at the moment, or up until today. So yesterday they owned it. These guys here, the rich private investors.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Are you still with us, Julia? Any questions about that? If you're still with us.
Yeah, I'm still with
Oh,
you, but
okay.
yeah, just leaving in a minute.
Okay. Oh, if you're still here, is it okay if Julia reads the next little section, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's to there. So while you're still here, Julia.
Yeah, okay. It is perhaps little wonder that more than one UK stockbroker had told the BBC that there has been a surge in interest in signing up for the chance to buy shares in this exciting company controlled by a talismanic individual that has captured the world's imagination.
Yes. I thought your talismanic was brilliant. Well done. Well done. Very good.
Finally, something.
Because that's exactly how it's said. That's fantastic. But what does it mean? So, what's a talisman? You could say, I suppose. So,
It's
really,
like a diamond, no?
probably not too far away from it. There is an idea of that. So let's have a quick look. So talismanic, talismanical. I would say talisman. The word talisman gets used a lot more than talismanic. Talismanic is very unusual, I would have said. So, of an object believed to protect the wearer from evil influences. Or two, thought to have magical or protective powers serving as a talisman. So talisman, that's the main word I would say gets used in English, I would say talisman. So the word talismanic is derived from talisman shown below, etc. So protects from evil or meant to have magical powers. That would be effectively a talisman, could say, but here it's an adjective, I guess. Talisman. I keep clicking on it by accident. There we go. So, any other word? Oh, what words were the trickiest for you there? Would you say, Julia? Captured. Yeah, I can just heard you there. So, has captured the world's imagination. Has captured the world's imagination. Would you read those few words again?
Has captured the world's imagination.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Is that word there? So has captured the world. Captured the world. Want to try that?
Captured the world.
Yeah. Okay. So captured.
Captured.
Okay. Let's take it in the dictionary. Never got a dictionary somewhere. Here we go. Thank you. Dictionary. Captured soldier, it says. That's strange. Oh, come on. Strange. So let's listen to them.
Capture.
Capture. So it's clearly cap. And although this is a T, it's really sort of something like a TH almost, or definitely sort of a sh, I would say. It's almost like it's sort of a ch. Does that make sense? This bit here makes more of a ch sound.
Capture.
Oh, yeah. That's very much it, really. So capture. So do you want to do captures now? So captures.
Captures.
You'll go, Julia.
Captures.
Yeah. Yeah, you're almost there. It's just the ES sound doesn't sound quite right to me. So maybe let's do capturing. Capturing. Maybe they will capture it this way. Maybe we'll capture the correct sound.
Capturing.
You'll go?
Capturing.
Okay. Capture. I think you're rushing the T bit, which was that sort of ch sound. Capture. It's not really a T at all, is it? Really, it's more of a ch. So captured. You'll go, Julia.
Captured.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Captured. Let's get back to capture. So capture. Now listen to them.
Capture.
You'll go.
Capture.
Yeah, that's very good. That's it. I think you have it there. That's it.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah, that's it. That's good. And maybe we'll end on world.
World.
World. Let's go back to the dictionary. My favorite thing, the dictionary. There we go. So I suppose really this word does get quite a lot of use. World Bank, world beating, world championship, world car. So it gets quite a lot of use for it, isn't it? I live on the world, in the world. Where in the world did you go? Where in the world did you come from? Yes, so okay. The world is the planet that we live on. Let's listen to them.
World.
You'll go, Julia?
World.
It's This is one of those sounds which I'd say most. This is one of those words that most people seem to struggle with. Oh, small huge now. Big, small, huge. So, so there's a sort of a whir sound at the front. Then I think of it as being an so whir and an world. This doesn't really help me, does it? So maybe we'll just do it with the sound. So there's a whir, then an then an old. But these last two are all coincidental. They all come together pretty much. These ones here, I would say. So, can you just do a whir sound for me? Woo sound.
What? Wait, no, next try.
No, just the. So when I'm making that stretched out W sound, I've got my mouth open. It's sort of fairly round. My tongue is somewhere, but it's a little bit away from the sort of the lower lip. But I'm not. It is helping, I suppose, the tongue, but it isn't really vital, I guess. So world, world, wo, woo.
World.
So when you're saying that, what I'm hearing, it sounds fairly close to, not exactly, but it sounds like more like this word here, walled. Um, so this word here, it's very similar to the word we're trying to say. So so these bottom two sound very, very similar. So let's listen to the dictionary saying that this top one of these two. So these two here are both. Top one is weld, and world. They're very similar, aren't they? Weld, and world. So let's do this other one. Whoops! Oh, bastard. I thought I'd tap the correct word in, but I tapped it in wrongly. So have I spelled that correctly? Weird. How do I get weird? What's the word I'm trying to spelling? I keep forgetting. I had it in. Oh, LD. Yeah, okay. Where's the L? There we go. So if you wield something, you might be swinging it round your head. You wield a broom. That just means you're using the broom to sweep the floor. But you could also, but it sounds also a little bit like you're swinging it round your head when you say world. Wheeled, I should say. Wheeled. Does it say wheeled? Yeah, wheeled. Tapped in wheeled. I meant weld. Never mind. Let's see this one here. So, if you wield a weapon, tool, or a piece of equipment, you carry and use it. So, weld it. Wield, I should say.
Wield.
Yeah, wield.
Wield.
Do you want to try this word? Wield.
Wield.
So, okay. So with this word we're just doing now, it's a bit like this other word. Just make it really complicated. So that's wheel. There's a wheel on a car or on a wheelbarrow or something. A wheel, the round thing that spins. Put an ed on the end of it. This is the past tense of you pushing, I don't know, a trolley along. You know, when you go to a supermarket, there's those trolleys. You could say, I wheeled the trolley into the next aisle. I wheeled it. So you pushed it around on its wheels into the next aisle. We'll try this word, wheeled. Okay. Okay, so I think what we'll do is next time you're here, we'll bring out a whole bunch of these W words and we'll just spend 2 or 3 minutes doing some of these W words. Maybe the next 5 times you're here, we do some of these W words to help you with it.
Thank you, Tony.
So,
Yeah,
okay, it is a bit tricky. So Don't practice this one for the moment. These world or wheeled words, but just do the other words maybe, because you might end up getting it completely wrong. I think it's very easy to get it completely wrong, I should say.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Tony.
Okay. Okay, so back over to your good self, Ruslan, if you want. If you got
Sorry,
time. If you're still with us, Ruslan, you got the time. Do you fancy finish off this paragraph?
yeah, okay.
So Yulia started it. We go down to here, maybe. Is that okay?
Yeah, no, okay.
Mhm.
UK retail investors are likely to be alloc- allocated around 1.5 billion pounds worth of shares, and one of the UK's leading investing platforms hopes this could encourage a new generation of investors.
Yes, that was good. Good, nicely read there. Your this was pretty good. I thought I liked that one. It wasn't really. It was sort of a th sound, but I could hear a little bit of a d. So, but it's sort of the way that a lot of British people would say it, the way you said it, because it's in the middle of a sentence and it's not a particularly important word. So we do sort of rush these little words sometimes, and we said this last time, if you remember, didn't we? So officially, it's really this, and it's a th sound. But being that it's such a boring word and it's so common, and it doesn't, and it's sort of not really doing anything in a way. We do rush these little words often as not. And if you listen very closely to English people or British speakers, you can actually hear them say something like this, but it is so subtle you can't really hear it unless you're particularly listening out for it. And I think you said it very much as a British person would say that. So that was very well done, actually. Brilliant. That was brilliant. And really, the whole of that was pretty good, actually. I thought pretty damn good, actually. But this I thought was very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, Tanya, I would like to ask you about the retail, yeah, the UK retail. It's it's like what retail?
So here it's a noun, I think. Yeah, a noun. So retailers are people who are selling things. So my shop, my high street has loads of shops along it, and they are all retailers. They're all retailing different things. One is retailing chicken because it's a hot chicken shop. One is retailing massages because it's a massage shop. And it really is. One shop is, so you're selling different things, but so retail is basically sort of like selling.
It's like a trading, selling, yeah, retail.
Yeah. Let's say I'm a retailer. It means I sell something. Whatever it is. I have a shop and I sell it. I sell something, I should say.
Okay.
You might possibly say that if you have an eBay shop, you could call yourself, I think, possibly a retailer. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It might say, I'm a retailer. I have an eBay shop online. Does that make sense?
It can be like a small shop, not, yeah, and it can be like a big shop. It doesn't matter, yeah.
Yes, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, so Tesco's is a retailer. They're a food retailer, aren't
Retailer,
they?
okay.
Food, and they sell lots. They sell clothes, food, clothes, and white goods. I think, don't they? Really now, don't they? Tesco's.
Okay.
Okay.
For example, opposite of it, we can say like in a bulk, yeah.
If you're selling something in bulk,
In bulk, yeah, in
that
bulk.
would be warehousing, I suppose. What they call that.
Yeah, it's
So it's
actually.
not really. Yeah, go on.
I want to say for example, ordinary people can buy what they want in a retail, yeah. But for example, if I want to go to the like a warehouse for the little and buy some pallets
Yeah.
of something, it's actually not for me, yeah. It's like selling in a if to the company,
Bulk.
not yeah, in a bulk.
Um, yeah, there is a special term for that. I can't think what on earth they're called. Yeah, it's something like, yes, bulk retailers,
Mhm.
not bulk retailers. Yeah, so yeah, there are different sort of ends of the market. Can't think what it's
Okay.
called. Yeah. Of course, there are some of these warehouses where you might be able to get a special card and they let you in. Isn't Costco?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
cost.
there are some you can go into, and it's sort of perfectly okay for you or me to go in there. But you might have to get an application form or something sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually know there is a
Mm.
membership cost for the 1 year,
Oh yeah, that's
approximately
right. Yeah.
£100. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it's probably only worthwhile if you do have a shop, isn't it? So you're going to sell 1,000 packets of toilet rolls or something. Okay.
Yeah.
Tony,
Yeah.
we should read this article 2 days ago. Now I've checked the stock of Spice, this stock, and they're
Oh
very,
yeah.
very high, just like
Oh
plus.
yes.
I've
Yeah.
just checked.
SpaceX. Yeah.
Yeah, SpaceX is like plus 23%.
23%.
Yeah,
Wow.
I've just checked. Really.
So, so your shares have hit the roof now. You haven't got any, have you? No. So this is what it's talking about. So it's talking about SpaceX.
Yeah,
They issued a whole bunch of these shares, or a chunk, as it says here. And so a chunk here may be a million or 100 million
yeah,
shares. I really don't know. It won't be in the thousands.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
up in 20% in value. That's incredible in one day,
yeah. They're just in
or
top.
less than one day.
Okay, yeah.
I liked how you said 1.5 billion pounds. That was good. That's very good. So you miss out the pounds in the beginning, then you say the
Yeah.
number 1.5, and then you worked out that BN was billion. That was good because you stay tempted to say BN, isn't it? Or bun maybe, and then you went back to say pound. So yeah, that's very good. That's exactly how it's done. So it's a bit weird, isn't it? So you ignore the pound at the beginning, then you say the number, then you talk about this quantity here. You pronounce that correctly, then you go back to the sterling symbol.
Because we read the same article with the numbers, and
Mm.
I still remember your
Oh,
explanation. Yeah, that
oh yeah,
it's,
really.
yeah, when we read, yeah, we need to say
Mm.
it a bit different.
Mm.
Yeah,
How
Tony.
it's written, yeah, strange, isn't it? Yeah, go on.
Yeah, and yeah, to be likely to be allocated. What
Oh
what
yeah,
what?
allocated.
Yeah, how you can
So,
understand it?
so if something's being allocated to you, it's something that's being given to you. Allocated. Now, maybe you've paid for it in to some degree, in some way or other. You've paid for it, perhaps, or maybe it's free and it's being given to you. This is what the word means. But in this sense here, I suppose it was the UK people said, "Hey, can we have some shares?" And we've got a whole bunch of money, but they didn't really know how many they were going to get. So they didn't know how many they were going to get of these shares, I should say. And maybe Elon Musk didn't know how many to issue, but they knew they wanted some. So he just allocated them some. So maybe it's too many, maybe it's not enough. I don't know. So
Yeah,
we don't really know the number, but they've been given some. That's really what it means. So if it's food, you may be sitting in a long line of food and you get allocated some food. It just turns up.
uh,
So maybe
uh,
it's free, maybe you've paid for it. Yeah. So
yeah,
allocated. So you've been given something. We don't know how much.
Yeah, be given.
But
Yeah.
it might have been before. He said, "Oh, can I have up to 10 slices of bread?" And they only had 9, so they gave you 9 slices. So that sort of thing. You got an allocation. I've received my allocation. Do you want to try and put the word in a sentence if you can?
Allocated.
Allocated.
Yeah, for example, yeah, I can. I will say. Uh, I got a holiday and my manager allocated for me 2 weeks to have a rest. Yeah, or,
Yeah.
or
Oh, you got a very good manager there. That's exactly it. Yes, that's it.
yeah, but it seems like I said it officially allocated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did sound that right. But you have just had a couple of weeks holiday, so it may be true. Maybe true. So let me put it in the sentence again.
Okay.
So my manager allocated 2 weeks holiday for me. So
Yeah.
my manager allocated 2 weeks holiday for me. Or you could say, my manager has allocated.
Yeah, my manager has allocated
Me 2 weeks holiday.
me
I think you stuck a 4 after allocated for me, I think. So we wouldn't normally say allocated for me. Wouldn't really say that. So we might say is allocated to me.
For example, my manager allocated to me 2 weeks holiday. No.
Yeah, probably the other way around though. Yeah, that's it. So my manager allocated 2 weeks holiday to me.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
my manager allocated 2 weeks holiday to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe there's too many me's in there. So my manager allocated to me. So let's put it. I've been allocated 2 weeks holiday.
Oh, yeah.
Let's keep it simple. I've been allocated 2 weeks by my manager. I've been allocated 2 weeks holiday by my manager. Allocated.
Yeah, I've been.
That's probably the best way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the allocation to me has been 2 weeks. Yeah, maybe that way too, I suppose.
I can say I have been allocated. I have been allocated for 2 weeks for
Not really
my
4.
holiday.
Not really 4. No, you won't say I've been allocated for 2 weeks. Not really. No. Not the way it's used. No. I've been allocated. Then the thing you've been allocated. I've been allocated my bread ration. I've been allocated my holidays. I've been allocated my new pen, my uniform. Maybe I've been allocated my uniform. I've been allocated my holiday, but you're not saying how long it is or when it is. I've been allocated 4 weeks holiday next month. That's the whole month, isn't it? So I've been allocated 2 weeks in June. Allocated, something like that. You wouldn't really ever put 4 next to allocated, I don't think.
Yeah, Tony, how about pronunciation? Worth.
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 Yeah.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah,
this one. Worth. So
it's
so
like,
sound. Worth. Yeah.
Worth.
Yeah, I think that's it. You're getting it. That's it. Worth.
It's the same like a value, yeah? Value.
Yeah, it's to do with value. That's it. Yeah, it's to do with
Value,
value. Yeah. So money value normally, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah, billions of pounds. Okay. Shall we call it a day there?
Yeah, okay. Shall we call it today? Yeah. Tony, how about the work? There is a lot of people I saw, yeah, 16 yeah, probably is going to be on this
Yeah,
next.
about 20. Yeah, over 20 people have they put their names down. So,
Mm.
but you know how it is. People forget at the last minute, or they're sick,